Hello, folks. This is Callisto8413, and no, we're not talking about 1984 in this niche books review. George Orwell's hugely famous, and this is his most famous book, and one of the last ones he wrote. It talks about the corruption of language, destruction of language, political corruption, totalitarianism, and dystopianism. And while it's not the first one to do that, it's probably one of the ones you think of when somebody mentions that. There is a huge amount of work behind this, and many people have studied just this book. I mean, some of them are scholars of 1984 who just focus on this book. They talk about how it began, where he got his ideas, what happened to him to make him Eric Blair to George Orwell. They talk about the past, the present, and the future, as you can see right here. The Cold War shows many of the things he talked about in 1984, even though he was already long dead by then. There are discussions about how language in 1984 is different from language used in totalitarianism. Discussions on science, discussions on environmentalism under totalitarianism states, and how that or did not fit 1984. There are movies. I have at least 3 of them. There's a musical opera. I have at least 1 of them. There's also a play. I would suggest staying away from it. But we're going to talk about 1984's older brother, Animal Farm. Very interesting. It talks about most of the same things: propaganda, surveillance, destruction of language, misuse of language, political corruption, totalitarianism. Because this is a fable, called a fable because the animals talk, about the Russian Revolution. And it's about 3 to 4 hours long if you want to, depending on your reading speed. If you're not into George Orwell, this is the gateway. If you're scared of 1984 because of how huge it is, this is the gateway. If you want to know about the Russian Revolution and don't want to get too much involved, this is also kind of good. Funny enough, 1984 is also considered a fable, a fairy tale. Jack and the Beanstalk, except Jack gets squished by the giant. This is a very important book. It is, or at least it was, read in high school when I was going to high school and reading the books they're giving me. Not sure if it's read anymore. 1984, you don't get into that until maybe senior high school, and even then, the only English course I had that dealt with the first chapter. It was one of those where they talked about short stories in first chapters and gave you a summary. And the teacher, you could tell the teacher had never read 1984, because when the first chapter ends and there's the knock at the door from the wife of the neighbor, the teacher said, "And that's the thought police." And I literally said out loud, "No, it's not." I didn't get in trouble. I think he knew he was in over his head if he had to admit to the principal he had no idea what 1984 was about. But I would suggest this. It's a niche book, and because I think it's been forgotten, kind of. Though there are 2 movies, a whole bunch of graphic novels, and guess what? There's another movie coming out in May. I've seen the trailer. Mixed feelings, but it could be from the book because the pigs did become corrupt. So, and they did deal with humans. So the trailer kind of skidding there, going on the edge there, what was in the book and what might be just additional stuff. But I'm going to wait till I actually see the movie before I judge anything. But be honest, I'm not going to bet my life on it being a good movie. On the other hand, the other 2 movies were kind of, the cartoon one was traumatizing for any kid who watched that. And the other one, they had human beings come back to own the farm. And since in this universe the human beings are the aristocrats, I'm not sure what that says about that movie. Besides the fact that people actually didn't understand the book. Have a good day, a good night, good century, and you might want to put those masks back on. Bye-bye.